Everyone is sitting so fast on track you doubt you could ever be on their level. The mission of advanced motorsports is to demonstrate the speed is achievable for everyone. With the expertise of some of the best sim drivers in North America, we are set to release free content on social media and comprehensive guides on our website. Those seeking the ultimate experience, our Advanced Motorsports Institute and personalized coaching sessions are the way to go. No matter your level of experience, we invite you to follow us on our social media to learn to be fast.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Another great race in the Precision Racing League. Green flag flies, we're underway. Side by side, door-to-door contact. Incredible action here in the PRL. Fighting, it ends in tears.
Tonight, we race for championships. Tonight, we crown said champions. Tonight, we see how things play out in the PRL and its GT3 series as we start things off with tonight's coverage from iRacing's Virtual Road America with the Fixed Series here on RaceSpot. Good evening, everyone. I'm Justin Prince. Alongside the booth for tonight is Dylan Coyle as we get ready to crown some champions. It's been a battle for both series on the docket tonight all campaign long. But tonight, Road America puts on some speed, Dylan.
Absolutely. Road America is one of the world's premier racetracks. It might not be built with the stands and the spectacular kinds of structures that you see from other racetracks in the world, but when it comes to pure racing excitement, that's what you've got here. 8 races down, 1 to go.
And we've had a variety of different racetracks all throughout the schedule, draft tracks, legacy tracks, as well as an Italian swing even in the past couple rounds. But tonight, we look to see who's going to be able to prevail in the U.S. Luke Wallace leads the point standings, 3 points the difference between him and Jim Felice, though. Evan McKay, Quacknan, and Tyler Graff in your top 5. Your drivers with the chances for the championship, Wallace and Felice. McKay needs a miracle, to say the very least, depending on what happens tonight in the pro standings. AM standings, meanwhile, that's a bit of a different story. Joey Costello has a solid buffer. That's 22 points right now over Pete Mejia. Walden McKenzie, along with Chandler in your top 5. Chandler DNF'd last time out, though. That put him down in the AM standings here. Drivers with a chance, again, Costello and Mejia. Mejia needs a big-time qualifying run for that to happen. But also, there are only 29 cars. He's going to need a lot to happen to Costello for a shot tonight. That leaves the team standings as well. How are the teams looking? Well, SRT's been dominant in this series, and right now, 100 points exact is the difference between yellow and blue after the blue cars lost a lot of ground last time out. A 93-69 difference. SRT Black has a chance to leapfrog them today after an 80-point round together last time. Orange and White also up there for chances to battle it out for spots. Crikey Esports, meanwhile, has just about secured the best of the rest of Lunatic Racing in the standings, as well as Michigan GT3. That's what we'll talk to bottom of the running order for tonight. Tonight's coverage is brought to you in part by Advanced Sim Racing. Owned and operated by passionate sim racers, Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available on the market today. All Pure members also get a 5% discount on ASR products using the Precision 5 coupon code. RaceBox offers mid and high-end button boxes for sim racing enthusiasts, for the casual gamer up to the most meticulous sim racing driver. Competitively priced and carefully handcrafted, our button boxes are an enjoyable addition to any sim racing setup. Visit RaceBoxSimRacing.com and get a 5% discount. Use the Precision 5 coupon code. Buckkicker products add incredible immersion and realism to every game. For every new run, so Troy, put yourself in the driver's seat. Brandis is a performance lifestyle brand motivated by motorsport and founded by professional race car driver Daniel Morad. For more information, visit Morandis.com. Mr. Hedge iRacing Photography. Capture your finest, proudest, or simply worst moments from your hobby and obtain a resolution. A great addition to any sim room. And by Advanced Motorsports. Get ready to learn to be fast with Advanced Motorsports. Follow them on their socials to become a better driver. Qualifying already just about complete. And here's the situation. Joey Costello is putting up the qualifying runs he needs to be doing. He's in the top 5 as an AM driver. Jim Felice, he's got himself a solid buffer in the order over Luke Wallace. The position difference, 2/10 from the time side on the pylon, 1st to 5th for Wallace.
I mean, here's the big thing here, JP. Jim Felice getting pole position. If that is the case, it just helps a little bit in the championship picture. We come into tonight, 3 points separating both Felice and Wallace. If Felice gets pole position, that's another bonus point as a car goes off right in front of Felice. That would be a bonus point, and that would be a 2-point difference, I believe, between Felice and Wallace. I mean, how much closer can you get as the checkered is out?
Yeah, right now we'll see if anybody's able to leapfrog in the final moments. Last time by, Luke Wallace had an invalidated lap time on the racetrack. He just had a second one. So no change for your top runners in the qualifying session. And also, talk about that for Joey Costello. That's going to be a solid buffer, especially since his championship rival is 16th.
I mean, that's just massive for Costello, but we already kind of knew he was feeling relatively comfortable coming into this one, as long as he finishes within the top 15, I believe. It doesn't really matter what anybody else Pete Magia is able to do. Magia in 16th right here. Costello, I mean, P4, that is an unbelievable effort. We see as Luke Wallace will cross the line. Does he have anything to beat Jim Feliz? No, he does not. I saw the blue selector switch to Feliz. Thought maybe we saw Wallace get P1, but Jim Feliz is going to get the bonus point here for pole position. That just is incredible by a very slim margin.
But tonight's going to also rely a lot on speed, especially the draft tonight. Your thoughts on Road America as a whole as we get set for what should be a speedy time around the National Park of Speed?
I mean, man, this is one of the best racetracks in the world, and it's got that reputation for a reason. 4 miles long, so you know there's going to be some long laps. Not a lot of laps that we will see here as we see that starting grid. And JP, I'll let you go through it. Jim Feliz, SRT Yellow, though, on pole.
He picked up the pole time over Evan McKay tonight. Caleb Lehman makes it a 2-3 for the blue cars. Joey Costello, top and AM, starts 4th. Luke Wallace and William Benson are in the top 6 tonight. Tony Costello and Waldo Walden, Tyler Graff will start in the top 10 with Brett Thurman. Colin McKenzie and David Morse is amongst your top 12. Sully Sayad and Andrew Trinket. Then you have Buck Hamilton alongside Pete Mejia. Dan Elgin will start in 17th. Dale Peterson back in 18th. Regan Chandler and Brett Bakari amongst the top 20. Robert Jeffries in the AM class with Mark Hanlon alongside. He makes a start tonight. Christopher Ryan's deep in the field with Ryan Chandler in 24th. Last page, Ian Cabana, Barry Cochran, Kevin Berquist. Drivers who did not set times tonight yet again. Sean Mulholland and Andrew Venaro start at the tail in the field. Look top to bottom of the running order, 29 to close out the season. Signups, keep in mind, are open to everyone for the PRL. For more, go to the Precision Racing League website today to see how you can join this community. And speaking of which, they are now making their way to the starting grid themselves to be able to prepare for a full pace lap, Dylan. What are some of your keys to victory tonight here in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin?
I mean, the key to victory is just trying to maintain that first lap gap, that first lap advantage that you might have. The passing opportunities are going to be massive here. You get that car wound up, get those left side tires loaded up through the carousel, and that run down into Canada corner that includes the turn 11 kink is one of the most difficult corners to get right in any race car. But it's really going to be interesting to see what these drivers do kind of heading into the carousel, how aggressive they want to be going through the kink. If they've got a run on a driver, they might try to make a move before getting to the kink. That might be a little bit too aggressive at the start, but you know, this is goodness me, this is going to be a long pace lap.
Yeah, it's going to take about a few minutes to be able to plan things out specifically for this one, but I'm going to walk you all through this race indeed. Who are you keeping an eye on the most tonight, knowing the championship implications, but also knowing just the driver characteristics we've seen prevail in some races?
I mean, obviously, there's no question there. You're really only watching Jim Feliz and Luke Wallace. The race for the win could be the race for the championship as well in the overall / pro class divisions. We got to look at the track conditions. It's getting to be a little closer to sunset. 85-degree track temperature. It's not that hot, so these cars might take a little bit for the tires to get wound up, get warmed up here, which could be something to keep an eye on.
Absolutely tonight. What are you keeping an eye on the most to be the best passing opportunities this evening?
I mean, it's going to be turn 5. It's going downhill, coming out of that turn 3, and I hate that it's called turn 4, going under the bridge. It's not really much of a turn at all. You're just keeping the wheel a little bit off center to the right, but that run is going to be so important before you go uphill again into turn 6, that 6-7 complex. But if you can get a good run going down the backstretch, get into the slipstream there, then you can potentially send in a move to a 90-degree left-handed corner as we start this 4-mile trek around here. And been running the numbers a little bit, JP. I can talk about it. Let's do it. Jim Feliz, if he wins this race, he will win the championship unless Luke Wallace has something to say about it. If he finishes second and gets the fastest lap, they would be tied on points, tied on wins. Jim Feliz would win because he's got more second place finishes than Luke Wallace. So again, if Feliz wins this race, it doesn't matter what Luke Wallace does. Jim Feliz is the champion. Obviously, the same goes for Luke Wallace. Luke Wallace has to finish in front of Jim Feliz. That makes it certain that he will be the champion. It can also come down to, different points permutations changing the game, where that gap between first and second, you got 55 points for first, 52 points for second, then 50 points for third. So that changes the game a little bit. If they tie on points, and it is not because of a Jim Feliz victory here tonight, the tiebreaker goes to Luke Wallace. So it kind of changes the game a bit. Say Jim Feliz finishes in second and Luke Wallace finishes in third, they'd be tied on points, and it would go to Luke Wallace unless Jim Feliz got the fastest lap of the race. So thing to keep in mind, the gap is 2 points now because of that bonus point that Jim Feliz got. That bonus point makes it so Feliz can win this race and be the champion. That was so important here, and a great note. It doesn't matter what Luke Wallace does if Jim Feliz wins the race.
Makes things all the more interesting, absolutely, for this one, but just about ready to go racing here in about a third of a lap's time. Jim Feliz again controlling serve to start things off for this one with the championship on the balance. And you could almost feel the tension with the butter knife from up here, Dylan.
I mean, with a butter knife, with a plastic knife that you get from an Easy Bake oven set, I can certainly feel it from up here. As the front row is Feliz and Evan McKay. I mean, Evan McKay, yeah, he's 41 points back of Luke Wallace, and honestly, unless Wallace and Jim Feliz wreck out in the first corner, the first couple laps here, there's no way that Luke Wallace is going to be able to get into this championship battle. It would really have to be a DQ or a non-classification from both Wallace and Feliz for McKay to have a shot. But hey, he is still mathematically in it for now, and he'll try and put some pressure on Feliz at the start.
So we'll find out in a little bit who's going to be able to get the job done tonight. We're happy to have you with us. This is the Fix Series for the PRL GT3 side of the card, the championship race. Jim Feliz, the second place driver in points, in control. They're trying to jump in the midfield, but the green flag is up the hillside. We're underway from Road America. And already, Caleb Lehman jumping to second. Luke Wallace was amongst those losing ground in the checkup effects. He's stuck in the 5th position to start, as they have some people with bad runs to start. Evan McKay checks things up for Joey Costello, opens the door for Luke Wallace.
Yeah, that is a massive jump, a massive start for Jim Feliz right there. Already has a half-second gap. I mean, Wallace now up to P4. Let's see if he's able to make a move going down the turn 5 here. This is the best passing opportunity on this racetrack. They'll see it around 17 times tonight.
We'll we'll see how tonight ends up prevailing for these drivers. Caleb Lehman off to a good start. He showed good flashes of speed all season. Seems to be in a good rhythm, at least in the first lap.
Yeah, certainly in that good rhythm right now. It's a good thing for Feliz. Again, Feliz stays in the spot the rest of the race. He's champion.
It's quite simple in that. Few drivers mid-pack just fell down the pylon. Still keep up at the front. Luke Wallace, SRT Black, needs to gain spots, and he is in the grass. How about that save?
My goodness, almost threw away the championship right there. Comes into this race with the lead, but is not the leader as it stands. Has to make up ground quick, and he knows it. It's not the sprint series, but it is a sprint race, and he's got to get a move on.
And a move on quickly is the way to emphasize that one. But right now, Wallace losing a bit of ground as we went to go look at a replay. Apologies there, but still look to see what we have in store here for this group. And right now, it seems like a couple drivers having some off tracks in the mid-pack. Everyone else up front kept it clean to start for the 35 minutes.
This is a dangerous place for Luke Wallace to be. Joey Costello only a 10th in behind. Thought about making a move into one, or I should say, didn't think about making a move whatsoever. Costello takes that corner pretty well. Luke Wallace went wide right there. He is under some attack right now.
It's staying pretty fierce right now, to say the least, right now in this grouping. But right now, that fierceness is still continuing to build behind him. That's Joey Costello, it's William Fenson. Others like Brett Thurman, not having the cleans to starts.
Yeah, not at all. You see that Thurman. Oh man, that's some pinball effect, and the 69 goes way into the wall. Not his fault necessarily, but does get the worst of it.
And that situation really disrupted how these drivers played things out, absolutely. Let's take a look at Joey Costello. He's still been showing good speed. These tracks like this one, he really seems to thrive at this year.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to lose some ground, though, through the carousel to Luke Wallace. Wallace had a pretty good run through the carousel, took it a bit wider on that middle point of it, and got a better drive off into the kink and in the run down to Canada Corner. Here's a look at what happened to Morse. Kind of a body check right there in the final corner, turn 14, trying to get that car pointed the right direction. Did a pretty solid job there.
That's allowed things to, so to speak, settle on in a little bit, as you will. William Fenson, he's picked up a lot of pace in the past few weeks. We've seen him in contention for a top 3 at one point during the Italian swing.
Yeah, definitely, and it's kind of crazy to think about that Italian swing being such a different variation of racetracks than we're seeing here tonight as the fastest lap of the race. Currently, Caleb Lehman. Caleb is currently sitting with that point bonus that will come into play specifically if Jim Feliz does not win this race. And Lehman is keeping him honest right here.
Extremely honest, if anything, right now, yes. But how long does that last right now? Lehman, we know, likes to plot and plan and stay in a line and wait to think rather than push the issue. So that leads obviously to the major question here. What's your favorite moments amongst this season so far, as we've seen a lot of twists and turns this year?
I mean, it's just this championship battle. That's the biggest thing that I've been excited about. You don't always get as close of a championship battle as you're getting here, and it's happening naturally, right? There aren't any missed races. There aren't any problems. There aren't any gimmicks. I guess you could say a drop week is a gimmick, but that is a standard in sim racing. I think it's just been awesome. We get a look at the standings right there. And I mean, yeah, Luke Wallace currently in behind, and down 8 points in the championship standings, would only be gaining 48 points from this. Jim Feliz would be gaining all but 1 shy of the maximum total, could get 57 with a fastest lap. I will say, though, that gap between Wallace to Feliz has come down just a little bit. Obviously, cars in between them, but Feliz is not running away with this. Joey Costello, though, he certainly is.
He is in the driver's seat for this championship, once again emphasize. As long as he stays in the race, should be the champion. Right now, his championship rival is in 14th position. Waldo Walden, who started top 10 as well tonight, still in the top 10 in 8th position by a sizable margin.
Yeah, doing a pretty solid job right here. 3 M-Class drivers in the top 10 of this field, and Waldo Walden in that, let's say, a camouflaged carbon fiber machine is taking that Corvette, currently 2nd highest running Chevy in the field here tonight. 27 total drivers, and Luke Wallace is now only half a second behind Evan McKay. Things are heating up at front as Feliz starts to pull away from Caleb Lehman.
Right now, doing well. So far, Wallace been able to stay at least afloat in this pack at least. And we know Wallace has to be plotting for the big picture here if he wants a chance to be able to stay up in front for this championship. Or better yet, stay close amongst this through Jim Feliz. He needs to think about the fuel mileage.
Yeah, that's a massive thing to think about. Fuel mileage will come into play only when it comes to how long you're going to be in the pits to refuel. We got to think about it this way, right? 17 laps is the estimated amount of laps here. That's going to make it so, because it's such a bigger track and because these lap times are longer than you usually have at any other track in the series, you're going to see pit stops happen more around the same time or the same lap than you'd usually see at a place like Mugello, right? You're going to see more of a difference in what lap that all the drivers come down to pit. You'll see some differing strategies here, but overall, for the most part, you're going to see a lot of drivers start to come in probably around lap 7 or so, and that's when the pit window will open, maybe until lap 12. That's what I'm estimating here as the pit window, as we see battles happen all over the track right now. When you look at somebody like Luke Wallace, do you think maybe, hey, should you come in a little bit earlier? Maybe, but right now you've got to focus on jumping past both Evan McKay and Caleb Lehman. And right now, you're currently around 0.6 of a second behind getting into 2nd place. 2 cars also separating you from that. Once you get by them, if you do, then you focus on Jim Feliz, who is starting to pull away right now. It is do or die in this race for both drivers.
Right now, McKay is starting to make some off tracks here and there on the racetrack. That's cost him a little bit of time. And that's going to cost Wallace a little bit of time as well. Right now, you almost have to wonder what's going through McKay's mind. As here is, oh no, this is going to be the 34. Contact, and that spins him around.
I mean, that's just desperation at that point, and some contact with that inside wall. Thought it was just a quick ad board real quick. It was also an ad wall sign. So that's just unfortunate, and I mean, that's pretty much championship over unless Costello makes a massive mistake here. And by the way, I'm pretty sure that once we get to halfway, that opportunity to win the championship is also gone for McKay if Jim Feliz and or Luke Wallace are able to keep it on the track, keep it going. You just saw some dirt just fly up right there. Couldn't quite see who it was, but I mean, I'll tell you what, man, Luke Wallace has got to make these moves happen quicker than he is.
He has to right now if he wants a shot right now. Looking at some of the others. William Benson trying to line things up, and it looks like we have a swap. Evan McKay just lifted and let Luke Wallace go.
Wow, okay. And look at that. Costello and Evan McKay now side by side. Or I should say William Fenson and Joey Costello in behind, coming down into this inside corner in turn number 3. And the positions have swapped indeed. So Fenson gets after it in that Ferrari to try and chase down now Luke Wallace and Evan McKay. Wallace only 2.5 tenths behind Caleb Lehman. I mean, you got to be thinking, if you're Wallace, you got to go now. I like the aggression.
Impressive aggression, if that. And right now, Lehman still doing calm, but right now, Wallace, he's on the prowl. Wallace now is within 2 seconds of the leader. Jim Feliz is starting to pull away.
Yeah, he is starting to pull away, but I do want to see what's going to happen if Wallace has some clear track in front. You keep seeing that dirt pick up. He's taking all up the track up to try and make these positions go to himself. 1.3 seconds of difference between Feliz and Lehman. It was 0.9 seconds just around half a lap ago. So again, Feliz not pulling away completely as we're 12 minutes and change into this race. But I mean, you're seeing it right here. Wallace is hungry, and he's right there.
So the battle for 7th and Pro also heating up. Right now, Tony Costello is in that 7th, but has a few AM drivers behind. You also have a couple of different Pro drivers trying to catch up. Starting to get a little bit slippery, to say the least, around the racetrack. That includes right now in that train, Saleh Sayad, as well as Tyler Graf, who had that ping pong effect for a moment earlier. Looking back up front, though, Wallace is really forcing Lehman to push a little bit. He's gaining about 1/10 a lap right now in the traffic.
He certainly is, and I mean, we look at it this way. Wallace has got to think about making this move. We'll see how this... Oh, yeah, he's going to make the move here. It's going to be an easy move for Luke Wallace. He pulls down to the left side of Caleb Lehman. He wants that inside track. A swap of positions, I think, is coming here.
The run through the Moraine Sweep to turn 5. And Luke Wallace does it cleanly. Now he's only 1.7 seconds back. Can he close up the gap without overexerting the gas now is a huge question. He just lost 2/10 that corner.
Yeah, but it's 2/10 well used up for the time being. It's about making that move work. And look at the standings right now. Luke Wallace, it's currently showing him as 5 points back. That's not necessarily the case. I don't believe. I'm gonna have to do the math again.
Well,
oh, Jim Feliz just that's right. Jim Feliz got the fastest lap. Is that true?
And the pole. So those are two big keys. Jim Feliz, 5th fastest lap if it stays.
You said 5th fastest lap. No, Jim Feliz definitely has the fastest lap of the race. We got it.
The season.
Okay, understood. Yeah, so those 5 points would make all the difference in how it would come true for Feliz to win. So with that being the case, Jim Feliz by far would be your championship winner. If for some reason Luke Wallace gets fastest lap, that would be pretty much a 2-point swap where 1 point gets taken from Feliz, 1 point gets given to Wallace. But even in that case, I don't think there's anything that Wallace could do. Let's see as this race goes on. Yeah, that would be a 4-point difference. Yeah, this is not looking good for Wallace, who goes wide again. He needs to win this race at this point when it comes to how Feliz is running.
Remember that pole, 1 point guaranteed at least difference between him and Wallace. So right now, Luke Wallace needs to have his best laps of the day. You know what the difference is right now between the fastest lap and second fastest lap? Which the second fastest is Luke Wallace. 5/1000ths of a second is the difference for that point.
That's incredible, man. I mean, heck, it's not really going to matter if Feliz finishes behind Wallace. It would really come into play if, you know, we see a situation where Wallace finishes behind Feliz, who gets that extra point right there. But without any points being awarded from this race session, with that 1 bonus point from the pole, Wallace has a 2-point lead over Jim Feliz. Obviously, you get 3 more points in second place for winning the race. You get another bonus point for that extra or that fastest lap. So right now, that 2-point gap becomes a 1-point advantage and a 2-point advantage with the that fastest lap. We look here at the standings, and it's pretty much, I think, over at this point.
Joey Costello still doing what he needs to do, absolutely. Tony Costello is doing it very solid as well. Tony is up to 7th.
Yeah, he is doing an extremely solid job right there. And hey, the Costellos, a really good way for the season to go. Luke Wallace, fastest lap of the race. Okay, that changes the game a little bit. These points right here are not completely accurate, and I'll tell you why. This puts a drop week again into the factor. You cannot drop week 9. The current point situation is 372 to 369 points, or 370 points with that bonus point. We add these in. So what you're seeing on your screen currently takes away points from the deal. It takes away this another drop week of some sort. That is not what's going to happen here. So I hate to say it, but the point situation, what gets added on there, is accurate, where they finish based on the bonus points, but who gets what the final points totals are on that, unfortunately, is inaccurate. What I can tell you, though, is that they would come out of this one tied on points as it currently stands.
It's going to be nerve-wracking at the very end, but we're almost at the pit stop window. Wallace, by the way, with those fast laps, is within 1.5 seconds yet again. And bringing Caleb Lehman and Evan McKay with him. Pit party time at the other side of the racetrack meanwhile. So pit stops underway in this one.
I said lap 7, but it is lap 9. So I'm actually surprised it took until after halfway for us to start to see a lot more pit stops in this race. But oh, look at that. More drivers deciding to send it down pit lane right here. You go uphill on pit entry. That should help you in theory to slow that car down. Fenson, the Costellos, they both come in. The top 4 continue on.
Wallen and Paul and McKenzie amongst those in this time by. They weren't able to get to lap 10 without having to duck in. We should see the majority of the rest of the leaders in this upcoming time by as a result. Drivers who had to pit very early for 13, 14 second stops. Buck Hamilton, Tyler Graff, Brent Pancari, Ian Cabana, Barry Cochran were that first wave.
Oh boy. I mean, this could come down to how much you put in the tank. We're looking at box times, and as they continue to update here on our side and our screen, I've seen a 12.3 second stop. I've seen a 14.5 second stop. Heck, I've even seen a 15.3. Anything in between those times, that could be the difference in the championship between Feliz and Wallace. Wallace has continued to bring that gap down. That's important. Does he maybe think about pitting first? It's not going to be a matter of the, switching tires or anything. So theoretically, it doesn't matter if the undercut or overcut, unless you were in traffic. But it still matters a lot. I guess just for the mentality of it, knowing you're the chaser, not the chased.
Right now you see the focus sets for the third and fourth place drivers, McKay and Lehman. A lot more up on the wheel right now is Lehman. McKay staying very loose as they're about to duck into the lane with 14 minutes to go on their seasons. As pit party time, Luke Wallace closed it up to 1.2 seconds, and he's going aggressive to the cone. Wallace gained a little bit more time on the entry, believe, compared to Feliz. Now we'll see how they handle the pit stop.
Mano a mano. Get your marks right. Stop in your box. Don't slide the tires. Don't do anything brash here, as both Wallace and Feliz line their cars up, ready to just stop it like anyone would do, coming up to a stop sign. Both Feliz and Wallace. Feliz will come into his box. Both of them get the car stopped in time. So far, so good. Feliz is in that first box. We'll see his view. If Wallace gets done first, it doesn't look like he did. Did they fall? My goodness, half a second faster for Jim Feliz. They had almost the same pit lane time, but the gap between Wallace and Feliz did come down, and that, JP, is because of the aggression that Luke Wallace showed trying to get into pit lane. 13 minutes left, under a second between 1 and 2 in the championship.
And as they go to the Marine sweep, Luke Wallace is in drafting distance. Remember, right now, based on the projections, it would be, believe, Feliz, as you see in live scoring. It's going to be interestingly tight. We'll have to see what they say officially after this race. Again, all results unofficial until confirmed with how things are looking for this championship. It could go either way.
Man, this is what a perfect so far ending race that we could have in a PRL season. Things are looking exciting. I will say though, the sprint race is set to not be as brilliant, because it does look like Karl Modolf, who has a 36-point advantage, is actually going to miss this race, which theoretically should hand the championship over to Gregory Holvesen if he is able to get that 36-point gap replaced. Theoretically, you should have that. That's 15th place or above.
We'll talk about that more in depth in a few minutes' time, but yeah, Modolf in that situation, not be able to make the finale, of course not being able to drop the finale, going to be absolutely huge for that championship complexion. Joey Costello with his pit stop, he was the AM leader. He's now all the way back to 4th in the pecking order. Not going to make a difference for the championship points, but it is for at least who's the top in AM today.
Yeah, and it's been quite impressive for Joey Costello and the rest of the AM group. 4 of them in the top 10 as that pit cycle seems to have ended. Right outside the top 10, Tyler Graff, who has had another season just kind of not go the way he's wanted it to go, as Buck Hamilton screams up the front stretch and now down into turn 1. Joey Costello takes a peek down the inside, does not see what he wants to see. So the Ferrari still stuck in behind that Corvette right there as more dirt gets kicked up. The gap between first and second in the race and the championship has come down even more, Justin. 0.3 of a second between Jim Feliz and Luke Wallace with 10.5 minutes to go in the season.
It's getting razor-thin margins now. Buck Hamilton trying to hold off Joey Costello. He's gone from 15th to 9th so far this race, and he's had a lot of off tracks as of late. He's been going a bit wide, while Joey Costello has been trying to pressurize the mistake.
Oh, what happened to Luke Wallace? He lost a lot of time, but has gained it right back. I wonder if he just kind of drove differently into the corner. Feliz, oh yeah, the carousel. Who's going to get a better run off it? Oh, we saw Luke Wallace dip his right side tires into the grass. That hurt his speed through the carousel, coming through the kink. You got to think dirty air is going to play a part.
And Luke Wallace nearly got dragged by some of that arrow into the grass. Still able to recover it down the straightaway to Canada corner. Wallace seems to be a little bit more comfortable under braking right now compared to Feliz with less than 10 minutes to go.
I mean, Luke Wallace has just gotten better as this race has continued. With 9.5 minutes remaining, Feliz has to defend for his life. He cannot finish behind Luke Wallace and win the championship. The snaking starts, the slipstream occurs, the run is being gotten by Luke Wallace here up the front stretch and down into turn 1.
Now all the way to the inside wall. Every point matters. Wallace to the outside through turn 1. Feliz tries to pinch him off. Wallace keeps it stuck there. Heading off to turn 3. Near contact for your championship leaders as Wallace resets.
Going to be an awesome run right here for Luke Wallace as we get a replay. Something happened to Joey Costello potentially. Oh, he went off track. Oh, that's a massive hit into that tire wall. Potentially Joey Costello. I mean, that is a race ender right there. Currently still shown in 10th, but we go back to the lead. Oh, move around the outside. Is it on the cards? No, it's not. A bit of a shove. Luke Wallace could not do it the long way around, but going up into turn 6, still trying to get the best arc into a corner, a swap over attempt. It's still not on the cards. What a race we've got right now.
Still boxed in right on behind. A little bit wide for Jim Feliz. 8 minutes to go. Coming up to 4 estimated laps to go on the season for the fixed series. Wallace seems to be the quicker car. Feliz good at defending. This the most he's had to defend all year. We've also had more incidents with Jeffries real quickly. Well, I believe someone turned down into him.
Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. All right, 7.5 minutes to go here. JP, it looks like we're going to have 4 laps to go in this race. 4 more opportunities, but with them being as close as they are right now, I feel like any corner can be a passing corner. They've got a big enough gap right now from Evan McKay in on back. They're in their own fight. They're broiled in that. Luke Wallace doesn't necessarily need the win, and look at that. Oh, Jim Feliz went way wide. This lead is going to go to Luke Wallace. He's going to have the speed and the momentum. He has a clean exit, and he's going to take it away unless Feliz is able to fight back here in a 1.
Side by side for the race lead. Can Wallace fully clear? Feliz has to go deeper. Contact!
No!
Wallace's turn! Luke Wallace sent up to the gravel trap. Jim Feliz with significant contact as Evan McKay, Caleb Lehman and more drive on by, and that could very well disrupt this championship tonight.
Oh my goodness. I mean, we're going to have to see a replay there, and I wonder if there was a bit of naughtiness on Jim Feliz's part. He couldn't get past and still win the championship. Here's a replay. I don't know if this is going to be the best angle facing. Let's see, because if Jim Feliz moves over a little bit too much, then it comes to the stewards, and we never want to see it go to that. Oh, man, that's not the best angle again, but the turn-in, I don't know if the turn-in was as aggressive right there from Feliz or if there was no turn-in from Luke Wallace, but now Jim Feliz is under Caleb Lehman and William Fenson, who still want a race win here to do something about it. Let's say Luke Wallace finishes in 5th place. That would gain him 46 points, and he has the fastest lap of the race, so 47 points. In that case, doing the math here, 47 points. If Feliz finished with 48 points, or I should say 4th place, 48 points, he'd get 49 points. We're doing vocal mental math. I think 3rd place would be enough for Jim Feliz to win this race if Wallace is 5th.
Keep in mind, though, if it does come to stewards, there have been points penalties as high as 20 points per incident for drivers in the top 3 this season. In some of the races, I mean. That's a big penalty if it comes down to it.
All right, let's see. So it is hard to say. I'd really like to see a slowed down version of that helicopter cam that we had, just because I don't want to be so quick to judge Feliz, who was the main point of contact there, because I don't know if if the natural flow of that quarter number one went to Luke Wallace, holding the wheel steady for longer than he should have. So lots of things to take into account. That is a brutal way for this championship to potentially be decided. If Luke Wallace holds on to 5th, Feliz loses the championship in 4th. Oh, man. You see what I mean? You see what I'm trying to not say right there? Feliz is obviously behind heading into the corner. The main point of contact is on him. His argument is going to be, well, Luke wasn't turning in.
Again, stunning turns of events in these final 3 minutes of the season. Colin McKenzie, by the way, is now the AM leader because Walden fell down the pylon as all of that happened. Costello is still in line for the AM win. We see the reason he fell down the pylon, but Colin McKenzie going to be happy if he is able to stay up here. Right now, it seems like he's got a 4-second buffer over Buck Hamilton. Just has to make sure no mistakes would be huge for the team.
Man, no mistakes would be great for everybody involved here. Man, I hate to see a championship get decided because of something like that. That is disappointing. However, of course, Jim Feliz still, if he gets passed by 3 cars here and makes a mistake of his own, he is not champion. So I think the stewards are hoping for that a little bit, because I think at the end of the day, that is a penalty on Jim Feliz. And if it is a penalty on Jim Feliz, how severe is it? Obviously, it's the championship deciders. Bergquist had a bit of an off right here. Got that car wound up a little bit too tight, but seems to have kept it for the time being, heading down into turn number 5. Too heavy. Or turn 8, I should say. Yeah, way too heavy.
Not the greatest days for Bergquist, but Lehman is keeping close. McKay is as well, but not enough to reel on by Feliz. Again, for those tuning in, contact between Feliz and Wallace has changed the approach to the championship as Wallace went for the race lead, turned around into the sand trap off the nose of Jim Feliz. Feliz right now is unofficially your championship leader. It's going to be down to post-race reviews and discussions on who actually wins this championship, because depending on the penalty situation, a 10-point penalty even would be enough to swing it to Wallace. White flag is out, final time around. It's going to be down to what's going to be a wild night finish here. We'll see if anything happens here. And the trade is getting tighter. Does anybody steal it from Feliz, the race win at least?
I mean, it's going to be the most muted celebration. And I wonder if Luke Wallace will show any displeasure here. He still has to defend this with some slipstream in behind.
Right now, they are getting bunched up tighter and tighter. Luke Wallace, by the way, for those curious, still 6 seconds back, has not been able to close up to this since the turnaround. And right now, Feliz looks like he is vulnerable to at least one attempt from McKay. McKay's got grip.
They come around the carousel as that sun is just kind of peeking over the trees and that horizon right there. Feliz still holds a large enough advantage, I think, to hold it into Canada corner. That's the last passing zone, really.
Does it go wide this time? McKay trying to line up slipstream. Not close enough to lunge from here. One more section for Jim Feliz to take the win. Unofficially is in line for the championship. Through the final corner. McKay tries the outside. Getting the run down the straightaway. Jim Feliz will get the chance to celebrate up front. Drag race attempt by McKay, and Feliz lifts and gives it to McKay. Jim Feliz just lifted it all the way back to third. Is he out of gas?
Is he out of gas? I mean, he's still slow. If that is the case...
Can confirm Feliz, as he went down the straight, ran out of gas.
Wow. Well, I can say, as Evan McKay gets the win right there, let me do the math in my head. I still think Jim Feliz would be champion with this point situation right here. He's down minus, I should say, 2 points. Let me get it back. Let me get back to you.
And right there, just goes lug, lets on by the blue cars. Evan McKay gets the win. But who is going to get the championship?
Right now, Jim Feliz, by 1 point, would be champion. Ignore those standings. Ignore the point situation there. But don't ignore that plus 51, plus 47. We came into tonight with it being a plus 3 situation for Luke Wallace. This is a 4-point swing, which would hand it over to Jim Feliz by 1 point. I mean, we were a half second away from Feliz and Fenson from the stewards not having to get involved. But even then, if they make any penalty decision in this race, it comes down to Jim Feliz not being the champion, because 1 point is enough to make it a tie. And if that's the case, tie goes to the runner of Luke Wallace.
A lot to unpack here. McKay, Lehman, Feliz, your top 3 on the track. Fenson, Wallace back in 5th. Tony Costello in 6th. Amwin going to McKenzie over Hamilton and Joey Costello. Tyler Graff in 10th. Waldo Walton, Sully Sayad, Andrew Trinket, along with Chandler, Regan Chandler, Brent Bancari, Dale Peterson, Mark Kalin, Ryan Chandler, Dan Elgin, Ian Cabana, David Marston, Pete Mejia, along with Cochran, Rhines, Berquist, Jeffries, Thurman, your starters. Mulholland and Venaro did not take the green. And now we unpack. Where do we even start here?
All I can say, without obviously knowing what the official decisions will be from the stewards, if there is one, that's not the way we wanted to see this championship decided. Quite unfortunate right there that we saw that contact between the two championship leaders. I watched it again a few times, slowed it down, and I mean, I'm not a steward. I don't decide. JP, I want to hear your take on it, but if I had to say one person that followed, that's Jim Feliz.
Well, there's still a lot to unpack. Was it a tight squeeze? Was it a slight push? Was there air? That's all gotta be factored in.
Gotta be in control of your car. That's the main thing, and I think Feliz turned in too early. It looked like the natural flow of the corner right there, down on the inside with the obvious advantage for Luke Wallace, and Feliz, well, I think he just turned in too early, trying to be a bit aggressive. And JP, I think you've got the chance to talk to him now as the championship winner finishes P3. How about we talk to him first?
Yeah, why not? Obviously, why not? But first things first, we are now joined by Jim Feliz. Unofficially, a 1 point difference. Jim, I know the circumstances are tight. I know a lot can still happen depending on race control. How are you feeling right now after a dramatic end to this championship?
Yeah, a lot of emotions, I would say, at the moment. You know, kind of a shame that there ended up being some contact there with Luke in turn 1. I think, you know, up until that point, probably just about as exciting as you could make a season. You know, it was obviously great racing Luke all season long, as close as it was. I think we both pushed each other really hard. Obviously, you know, kind of took each other to the next level. And, you know, I was thinking I was looking pretty good for a race win there. He obviously had a lot of speed, and like I said, just kind of a shame that there was some contact in turn 1 there.
A tight race battle. What's your take on the championship battle between you and Luke all throughout this, especially with Luke's rally in the last few races to take that race lead coming into tonight?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I'm not exactly sure how the math works out. I think, you know, dropping back to 3rd there, kind of running out of fuel. I think Luke has got it, at least according to my math, picking up the fastest lap there as well. So I think, you know, if that's the case, I definitely want to congratulate him. I think he's a very deserving champion. I know he's worked really, really hard all season long, and like you said, he put together a great string of races there, especially in the second half of the season. I think he found a lot of speed with that Corvette, and yeah, just a great driver, and like I said, it's been fun racing against him all season long.
Well, don't forget the pole position is a point, and right now that is unofficially the difference. Even with the 3 spots difference, we'll have to see what things are calculated as, if not a tie to the tiebreaker. There's a lot to equate for. We're still waiting for official word. Right now, a 4-point swing is the current projection. That being said here, how big has this season been for SRT? Top 5 teams your organization had a lockout on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been phenomenal. So fortunate to just race with, you know, such a great group of guys. You know, like I said, a lot of us just kind of push each other, take each other to the next level. You know, we would not be as fast as we are without each other and the work that gets put in during the week. So it's been just phenomenal racing with those guys. And you know, before I forget, I want to give a huge shout out to Brett Thurman, my teammate at SRT Yellow. He gave me an awesome tow during qualifying, was totally selfless, basically sacrificed his own qualifying to help get me on pole there. So really appreciate that. And you know, yeah, just a shout out to all the guys. I think it's been a good season. You know, unfortunate that there was some last minute drama, but overall a really good season for all the teams.
Well, once again, congrats on the run tonight. We'll see how things go officially, but unofficially, you are projected to be the title winner by a point. We'll see what the officials look like once things are calculated. Congrats either way.
Yeah, thank you.
Jim Feliz unofficially has the advantage in the standings. A lot to unpack for the review. We do have your AM champion also standing alongside. Actually, let's go down the order to Joey Costello. In fact, pardon me, he's with Dylan.
Joey, you didn't get the AM class win in the race, but hey, you got the AM championship, and it wasn't necessarily outside the realm of possibility that wouldn't happen here tonight, but a lot of things would have had to go against you. So coming out of it with a AM class podium finish as well as the championship, you got to be feeling great.
Yeah, it feels really awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, not my best race, and definitely some AM guys with some awesome pace tonight. I think Colin had an awesome race and didn't make a big mistake like I did, so well deserved to him, and it's been really fun racing these guys.
Yeah, it felt like it was pretty close in that battle at the lower parts of the top 10. Were there any defining moments in it that you figured, oh man, one spot I missed, or this is going to be it, I can't get that AM class victory here tonight? Because it was close and it came down to fine margins.
Yeah, I mean, I looped it in the last turn, carried a little bit too much speed and got out into the grass, so I think that kind of threw away my AM win hopes, but just needed to settle back in. Got in behind Buck and was a little frantic, made some mistakes, so I just needed to settle back in and know that was an okay place to finish, and I'd be better off without a penalty and some things like that, or more incidents.
Pretty sure you hit the wall as well, spinning it in that final
I
corner.
did.
You did. Was there a lot of damage? Did it affect the car?
I didn't notice any damage. I just got to go back and look at it, but I didn't feel any aero damage.
All right, well, Joey, I'll give you the stage. Who do you want to thank for this championship effort here this season?
I'm thanking you guys and PRL. Thank you so much to PRL for organizing a great league, and thank you guys for presenting it every week.
We will take responsibility for your in-class championship. Okay, we'll do it. Good job, man. congratulations on the AM Class Championship. Well deserved, a stretch of 9 solid races for you, my friend.
Thank you, guys.
Of course, and JP, it's nice to see Joey win this championship. There was no driver in the AM class that was faster, that was we're more comfortable with saying, yeah, he's the champion. There's no controversies. There's nothing like that. It's nice to have one of that in this race in terms of a lack of controversies.
And we still have your race winners standing alongside. Let's start things off, Evan McKay. He picked up the straw run tonight. Evan, you pick up the win after Jim Feliz runs out of gas coming to the stripe. How does it feel to get the win?
Oh man, it feels pretty great to finish off the season with a win. Felt bad for Luke there, seeing him crash. We were trying to help him out to fight Jim for that championship, but not sure where they finished there. I think, does Jim win by a point, or?
Unofficially,
Okay.
But obviously the circumstance, the contact, going to cause a lot of questions. We were discussing that before with Jim, but overall, how did you feel about the race itself, where you stayed top 5 all night?
Yeah, it was a great race. I mean, just stayed in my line, tried to keep up with the guys up front, and somehow I pulled away with a win with Jim running out of fuel there. So yeah, I feel pretty good.
Overall, how would you describe the season?
Pretty good season, yeah. I mean, I was fighting for the championship most of the way there until we got to Nürburgring, and then there was that incident where me and Jim got taken out, and then the next week in the rain I spun, and then it was kind of over for me, but I still had a really fun season fighting for top 3s most of the time. So yeah, that was a great season for me.
Any shout out you'd like to give here tonight?
Yeah, shout out to the team, SRT, and shout out to my family and everyone watching.
Congratulations once again on the run.
Thank you.
Evan McKay saw a run tonight. Caleb Lehman also standing alongside. He's with Dylan.
Yeah, Caleb, we'll have to talk real quick because qualifying is almost ready to wrap up in the sprint series, but you came so close to getting the win here. I mean, what was it, a tenth and a half?
Yeah, I think I cooked my tires a little bit at the front half of the race, so I thought that I was going to even fall out of the top 5. So to be able to come back and finish basically at the line, second, right behind Evan, that's the craziest race I've ever been a part of. So it's a great way to finish the season for me.
Does it ever, it's good to hear that you're happy, you're excited, but you cross that line. Is there a sudden, like, dang it, could have had that win? Do you ever feel that regret of sort?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, fighting for the win is always fun. The McLaren has been a bit of a struggle. It's a quick car, but keeping it on the track and being consistent with it has been difficult all season. So to finish off on a high note is definitely a positive for me.
Well, I definitely want to give you the chance to say a shout out to anybody here. Anybody you'd like to give thanks to for this season?
Shout out to my teammates, everybody on SRT. We really push each other. Really gutted for Luke. We was hoping that he'd be able to fight a little bit clean with them, but also shout out to my wife for supporting me and letting me do this crazy hobby.
Heck yeah. Congratulations on the second place finish and a strong season, Caleb.
Thank you. Have a good night, guys.
Of course. And JP, we're getting ready to go here in this sprint series race. That race is actually qualifying, I think, is ending any moment now. So we'll be able to talk about that in a second.
Yes, indeed. Let's take that opportunity in the next moment or so, because it's time to reset. It's time to see how things now shape up in our second of the races. Welcome to RaceSpot's coverage of GT3 Sprint Series, as we look to see who's going to be crowned a champion tonight. And a lot of storylines to talk about in this one. Let's take a look at how things are entering tonight. Karl Modoff not on the track. 36 points the difference. Gregory Hobson, all he needs to do is just survive tonight, and he gets to be a champion instead, Dylan.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty much the whole deal with it. A tie goes always in this series right now to Karl Modoff. So the swing for that pro championship is going to have to be a 37-point swing, which means Halverson needs to finish 14th in this race, and he will be champion. So not surprised, not shocked, but it is unfortunate that we won't see Modolf, take a crown that, if we're being honest, should be his, but you got to finish every race, right? It's we'll see. So if Halverson has a mistake, maybe it is Modolf's crown. And check out these AM-class standings. And it's also a big gap here, 35 points in this difference between Devin Brock and Pierre Mahler.
Right now, Devin Brock seems to be in line to lock that up. Delta Sport, well, without one of their drivers tonight, that's going to be a question mark on how things go. 91 points the difference. SimCity Racing needs to have a very strong run tonight if they want to take away this championship. Solpac Precision Racing Gold just outside range of contention tonight for those driver team standings. Let's look once again at the standings. Already the grid set to go, and we've got a lot of different drivers up towards the front here in this one. David Holland, Gregory Holmson. David Holland's first pole of the season. Brandon Tabone, Sean Dickinson, Chris Sowan, and Connor Wagner up in front as well. Connor Wagner, one of his better starting positions of the season. Fernando Jaquez, Eric Palacio in 8th position. Rob Clark and Marc-Andre Garon in 10th. Aiden Young and J.R. Williams will start in 12th tonight. 13th goes to Kevin Simpson, Jack Hedgecox, Nick Ledick. Start alongside Jeff Carollo, Peter Bowler, and Noah Anderson. Starts back in there. Joshua Spears, Chris Stewart, the top 20. Ethan Bass, 21st. Jason Hodgson, alongside Miles Brown and Ryan Reeves. Devin Brock, he starts deeper in the field and AM tonight, all the way back in 25th, but still in good points position. David Mendonca, Greg Smith, Matt Sheriff, Dakota Knapp, Thomas Rep is in 30th. And the last two drivers, all drivers put in 12 fight times tonight. Kyle Robertson, Aaron Beaver, you're 32. And so it begins. The gridding procedure on the racetrack itself, Dylan. An eventful night coming to a close.
Yep. An eventful night for sure is certainly coming to a close here, and less about championship, implications and all the such, more about who's going to win this race, who's going to do it in style. Obviously, we're talking about David C. Holland getting that first pole position. David's one of the top drivers in all of PRL history. 81 degrees, the track temperature. 4 degrees cooler than we saw from the fixed series race, even though it's around the same exact time that we're getting the green flag here. And as for any points to look at from this race, it's, again, kind of the same deal, right? Without championship implications coming into a big way, a big fashion, it's just about trying to win the race, trying to get the best finish you possibly can, making sure that you don't put two tires, one-side tires, off in the grass, especially going into a braking zone. If you're trying to brake with the left side tires in the grass going into turn one, you're going to just swing around to the right side because of the traction, which might help. You're trying to drift to the right, but you don't want to do that. You're hurting yourself, and lots of problems can develop from it.
So we'll really see what happens here tonight in this class, in this series. Still a couple more moments before we get rolling here. What are you keeping an eye on, knowing, well, the pro standings championship going to be much different scenario compared to last time, but still a lot of potential for some eventful racing.
I mean, there's not much, else to necessarily say. I think that championship battle, obviously being over, is big, but who's going to get on the podium is probably the bigger thing of the Pro Class Championship, because it is really between Chris Sion as well as Rob Clark, and right now the advantage, at least in the championship standings, it's a 2-point advantage for Chris Sion over Rob Clark. In the race, Sion starting in 5th with Rob Clark starting in 9th, so Clark's going to have to make up ground, and this race is going to start with really the advantage. I almost feel like the advantage is definitely going to go to cars on the inside here. They can kind of shove, I wouldn't say shove off, but make it difficult, make life difficult for drivers trying to get around 1, and certainly difficult trying to get around turn 3.
We'll find out how things go here tonight. Still a long time of the pace lap here. By the way, we still have not received word on the situation in the air class. Be sure to keep an eye on the Precision Racing League's website for more information on that situation in the fixed case. But more time, more thought process here for the moves. I'm very curious how things are going to go if anybody's going to break up the Delta Sport front brigade again.
I mean, that's the biggest question, right? It's going to be important to see if those Lambos kind of get that breakup of sorts. Nonetheless, you know, David C. Holland is his own kind of guy, so Gregory Halverson is going to try and take that Delta Sport Lambo to the win, even though both are Lamborghinis on the race sheet. Lambos have been strong in this sprint series, but Corvettes have been right in behind. 2 Lambos on the front row. Corvettes line up 3rd through 5th. Ferraris line up 6th through 8th, and Porsches line up 9th through 10th. You don't usually see that. The few Ford Mustangs in this race are mired back in 21st place at the best overall. And there is one lowly driver with an Audi, Aaron Beaver, starting dead last.
We'll see what happens now for our drivers. We'll see what happens now as they settle on in. Gonna be a fun night overall, regardless though on how this closes out for the night. Chris Sowan, I'm keeping an eye on tonight to have a good run.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, he's trying to certify himself as P3 in the championship. Of course, has Clark kind of breathing down his neck in that sense, but has the advantage, at least at the start here. David C. Holland is going to get his bonus point for being the pole winner. Marc-Andre Garon is only 6 points ahead of him now. So there is potential for David C. Holland to rise a bit in this championship. Realistically, you could even look up to 7th or 8th for Holland, who currently is in 10th. But about to round that final corner here, turn 14 at Road America. The pace car, the safety vehicle, will go off track up into the uphill pit lane. And 40 minutes of racing action, JP, the last one of Season 3 in PRL GT3 action.
Happy with us here on Race Spot for the PRL GT3 Sprint Series. This closes out the season here tonight. Green flag is out. We're underway. It's a Delta Sport 1-2 to the line. David Holland, for the first time this season, leading the field. Can the open wheeler do some good tricks here tonight? 2 teammates from SimCity Racing battling behind. Brendan Thabone able to hold on. Chris Sowan trying to defend Connor Wagner.
And it's a pretty solid start for David Holland, but right in behind is Halverson, going 3 wide on the exit of 3. That's not going to work out perfectly for everybody, but so far no one has gone for a bit of a spin.
Clean start, no off tracks, no crashes, but a change for the lead. Gregory Hobson takes it on the Marine sweep, wide open for Holland.
Look at that, so many drivers trying to get the perfect apex through turn 5, uphill into 6th. Hard to make this corner work for a move if you're not on the inside.
They stay all in a train now for the second half of the lap. And this second half of the lap has been treacherous for some in the midst of the dirty air.
Yeah, it certainly has been treacherous. The carousel is going to heat up these left sides mightily here as all these drivers just try and get the best exit. This kink, it's always fast. It's always daring. You've got to have that speed and that commitment to get the best run in the Canada corner. So far, Hoveson's got the best.
The best throughout the rest of this one. The huge question mark right now as they stay in the train. 2 minutes burned off the clock to start things off tonight. Sean Dickinson, looking solid up there with Brennan the Bone. The Bone, one of his best runs so far. Matt Sheriff, not a good run in Sector 2.
That's a massive hit into that tire barrier. He'll still be able to keep going, but the damage might be affecting his aerodynamic stability through some of these faster corners, like the carousel.
So, others, a lot of people spun out.
Oh, J.R. Williams, we've seen him have some solid runs in the past few weeks, and he'll have to do a lot more to get that run going here. By the way, Rob Clark back in 11th, with Chris Sayong still in 5th. That is an even worse chance for Clark to get P3 in the championship.
Continue to Canada corner, one of the Fords, Ryan Reeves, having some issues.
Let's see, in that Ford Mustang. Oh man, he just got clobbered down the inside, and 3 cars are involved at that point, and a big hit. The rear wing comes off of the 92 Ford Mustang. That's race over.
They are forced to reset. So now, they all try and keep it clean. Kyle Robertson, he too joined the fun.
And just a spin by himself there.
And all that all built up on itself almost. So now they look to try and keep it clean. Looking at Jaquez, he stayed in 7th to start. He looks to move forward from 7th.
Yeah, and Fernando Jaquez is, he's currently on the move up, but it's a train of cars that are going to continue to string out as this race goes on. Not stringing out that much, we've seen in recent weeks as a replay here. Corallo got into the back of one of the drivers in front of him, stays put, almost gets hit, just stays still. Oh man, this is dangerous. Oh, he backs up a little bit. Don't do it, man. Woo. Wait a second. Hold on. Don't do it! Oh, that was bad.
Very bad for a moment. Fast slap, David Holland. He's flying from 2nd. But your thoughts on Jaquez and his season? We've seen flashes of speed from him this year.
We certainly have seen flashes of speed, but it hasn't come in consistent enough form. He's had a lot of chances to get points, but has decided to either not enter the race entirely or just has a DNF for himself. Because in the first 4 rounds of the season, it looked like he was easily a top 10 competitor. He was easily a top 10 competitor in this series. In round 5, he had 25 points. He didn't start round 6 and 7 as Stort goes side by side with Jack Hedgecock's there, and this is going to be an interesting corner. You can't make the move on the outside work usually here, and that's why you kind of get shoved off. But does he keep? Nope, he can't do it there. He can't get back going again in turn 7. But as I was saying, 2 DNSs in a row followed by a DNF in round 8 has not been the back half of the season that Jaquez wanted.
Not at all. That's the understatement of the day. But still, plenty to work on as the night progresses here. Your top driver AM, by the way, is Chris Stort, back in 16th. A lot of the AM drivers not having the prettiest of starts as a result of the incidents. They have had a much different time compared to the pro drivers who have settled in up front.
Yeah, but we've seen that a lot this season where the pro drivers in the sprint series are just on a different level playing field than the AM class drivers, and a lot of that is just because of the gap as Dakota Knapp will go for a bit of a spin. Okay, this is dangerous. I hate seeing cars in the background coming at full speed while cars are still trying to get recertified here. Brandon Tambone with the fastest lap. Here's a move. Marc-Andre Garon having to defend on Aiden Young. So far, so good. I don't think he's going to get the run going out of turn 3 here, though.
Garon able to play good defense. Aiden Young staying up in the 9th position. Aiden Young's been wishy-washy at times this season, you can argue.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Aiden Young, one of those other drivers that, you know, it's about consistency here to win a championship, and Aiden Young has had a really solid season, currently sitting in 6th place. Has an opportunity to move up on Brandon Tabone and take away a top 5 spot, but that's going to be difficult as this race progresses, is what we're seeing here. But Young, you know, he's had some highlights in this series. 0 wins on the year. It's been pretty much hoarded up by Carl Modoff with Gregory Holvison and Ron Clark getting a dub for himself. But we'll see if anything like that changes. Holvison looking for his 3rd win of the year. David Holland looking for his 1st, which is a surprise to say.
Yeah. Still not even a quarter way to the action. Seen this race really take a calm, mellow approach. Aiden Young, by the way, has moved up the spot in all of this. Eric Flacio, he's staying in the 10th position for the time being in the train. A little bit of a wide moment for Garon.
Yeah, and Marc-Andre Garon is a very exciting driver to see. I mean, he's your definition of a checkers or wreckers kind of driver. Currently 9th in the standings coming into this race, and he's had results where he has finished on the podium. He's gotten a great chunk of points. As a matter of fact, in 5 of the races in this season, and of 8 total races, there's a look to the inside by Eric Palacio, and he is right on that gearbox of Marc-Andre Garon here. Does not go for the move in the 3. But as I was saying, Garon has had 5 results where he has finished with a minimum of 45 points, all the way up to a maximum of 52 points. But 3 results, 14, 15, and 17 points. So you see that, you know, that inconsistency that obviously has affected his season. One of those weeks got dropped, but you still have a 2 weeks where, I mean, that's almost dead last points.
Bone keeping it tight, though, up front. Your thoughts on him from SimCity Racing?
As we're talking about, of course, Brandon Tabone with that SCR1 machine, currently doing some pretty good things right there in P5 in the championship. You know, we're just talking about other drivers trying to get into the top 5. Kyle Robertson going for another spin of his own again, but this time impacting the wall. It's not going to help him out. Tabone currently fastest lap in this race. His season has been, I would say, definitely more consistent, but the ceiling hasn't been as high as we've seen from the driver. Like Marc-Andre Garon, as Devin Brock, what happened to him? This could have some championship implications. Oh, what a save. He was going right for the wall. Obviously loses it. Has to get it back going again. I mean, but if he impacts the wall, that could be detrimental. But already, it's showing that he's a minute behind. So that's a far gap for the driver that currently has a 35-point advantage in the championship. Peter Mahler, though, not doing nearly enough for what he has to do to pull back that advantage.
Just past the quarter mark now in this one. Connor Wagner, also part of the open wheelers, trying to get a handle on this car. And the handling's been good for him all throughout this campaign, you could argue, for Wagner.
Yeah, Wagner has had a pretty solid campaign as well. It didn't necessarily start off the way he wanted to. Over the first 3 races, average point total of 30 and 30.5, I should say, with a DNF involved there. That DNF in round 2 has served as his drop week. But honestly, ever since round 4, he's really kicked it up into another gear with a minimum of 38 points, a maximum of 50. You remove those first 3 results, it's a different season. But when you have 9 race stretches, that the PRL has, you need to almost be completely perfect. You've got 1 mulligan, just 1, and it can't come in the last race. If you need to take a second mulligan, you're going to have to hope that it was a league-wide decision because of connection issues or something of the sort. But you got 1 mulligan, that's it.
Right now, drivers are so far handling themselves well tonight, outside of 3 who have lost laps from their incidents here in this race. What's been your standout moment this season in the Sprint Series and why?
I mean, I think the biggest thing is that Imola race was so exciting. That was a fun race to watch. Kind of just a fun change of pace with Imola being so difficult. I feel like, whenever we see a result that we kind of don't expect, right, or don't necessarily see as the potential winning result, that's what comes into excitement for me. I forget exactly what race this was, JP, but I do believe we saw a really big stretch of fuel almost end up in a victory for a set of drivers. My mind is not working to remember exactly the situation and scenario, but you get the rain races and they always mess with the natural flow of things. So we've had a couple of rain races this year, usually have 2 in PRL GT3 seasons, and let's say whenever it rains, that was my most exciting moment. You don't get off scot-free. Let's hear your answer.
That's a good question.
You asked it first. Pat on the back.
Just trying to think about this, how to do this calculatively. Daytona comes to mind with some of the excitement there. Rob Clark picked up the win that day.
Yeah, and he didn't do it by much. It only ended up being 1/10 of a second between Clark and the Noyers. So that was good. That was some good hard racing there. Hobison finished P3 in that race, so he still finished on the podium. I'm struggling to remember. I'm going to try and get an answer here. Yeah, round 2, that was Carl Modolf's other DNS. So he did not start that race. It kind of opened up the floodgates for other people to try and get involved there.
Right now, 25 minutes to work with on the season. Take a look at the AM leader. We haven't mentioned Chris Stort's name all that much this year, but Stort, he's another one of the SimCity drivers, doing a very solid job tonight. He's 3rd in AM. He has had a DNF and a DNS this season. Devin Brock is still in line for the AM championship, though, because he had that 35-point buffer over Peter Muller.
Yeah, and right now, Chris Stort should... he's going to be P3 in the championship unless he goes on a tear in these final few bits of the race. The difference between Stort and Muller coming into this one, 16 points. There's almost no chance for a swap of positions to happen between them, as Fernando Jaquez going way out there on past the curbing, still on the asphalt to try and get the best turn in to go up to turn 6. And he is pressuring Connor Wagner big time right here. Wagner keeps putting a wrong foot. The tires are dipping themselves into the grass, into the dirt. You see a little bit more grass, the leaves picking up a bit. He knows he's under pressure from Jaquez.
Yeah, both of them kicking up some dust for good measure. But Jaquez just keeping his Ferrari at bay. And there's been some talk from a couple of the teams that the Lamborghini has been a bit sketchy. Your thoughts on the Ferrari here at Road America?
I mean, at the end of the day, the Ferrari right now is not one of the top cars in this race, and we haven't seen it kind of break through between Corvette and Lambos in it. Obviously, has the advantage over the Porsche in this race, but if we're talking about the four bigger manufacturers that are used most of all in this series when it comes to Lambos, Corvettes, Ferraris, and Porsches, Ferrari's definitely P3 on that step as we see a pit stop starting to happen here as the pit strategy has opened up potentially 17 minutes into this race. Could not quite see who went into the pits. Maybe it was just a car that was a lap down. Devin Brock has gone into the pits. That's who it is.
And that's an early call. Very early, Dylan.
Not exactly. You're almost halfway through this race. Just 1.5 laps from the halfway point. You can make it to the end here, so why not go?
Right now going already 10, 12 plus seconds. That's a very lengthy stop actually for Brock. That's more than normal for him.
Probably some damage repair as well for Devin Brock. I mean, he's already way back in the field anyway. He still wants to complete this race to make sure he gets the points from being officially classified. So he's not going to gain positions unless other drivers mess up, but he's also almost certainly not going to lose the championship here. He just needs to keep this car on track and go a little bit longer, finish this race out, and enjoy himself while he can. I mean, he can bask in the glow a little bit of being just a few 22 minutes away from being AM Class champion.
You gotta love this racetrack though when it comes to the ebbs and flows. So far it's been a very solid one when it comes to the ebbs and flows of the circuit. No major mistakes as we talked about earlier on. This track is just such a natural beauty.
Oh yeah, this track is just unbelievable. We love watching cars, doesn't matter what kind of car, race around here. It's almost, I think this Watkins Glen, internationally, they don't get the reverence that they absolutely should get. Just some unbelievable action. It doesn't matter what series you throw on those tracks, it's going to provide a great time.
So right now, you see how the interval looks for the race lead. Still a choo-choo train effect. Right now, the difference between first and second staying within 0.4 of a second. No major urgency from anybody to push or pass.
No, not exactly. I think these cars, these drivers, they know exactly what they've got, what they can get out of their vehicles, and they'll keep pushing. I think once we do reach that point of the race where pit stops are more than necessary, that's when we're going to start to see a lot of difference here. A lot of different drivers going for different, moves, different gaps. Right now, you're just kind of minding your business. David Mandanka minding his business in that Porsche by going into pit lane a little bit earlier than the rest of the field.
Yeah, a little bit earlier than expected by at least a lap or two. We are on lap 10 of this race now. Halfway point on the clock. Halfway point expected to go about 20 laps on the distance. And somebody's going to have to make a leapfrog here eventually.
I mean, eventually, but I think that's going to happen after pit stops. Why take a risk unless it's well known that you can get the move done? Which, if a move can be made, you'll try to make a move. But there's no need for an unnecessary risk right now when you all know that you still all have to go down pit lane, still need to grab fuel. And, I mean, we've seen a lot of positions swap in pit lane as we've crossed the halfway point of this race. The top 5 separated by just over a second and a half. They're running under a blanket right now, and it is quite exciting to watch. Does anyone dip down pit lane? Does anybody in the back decide, hey, let's do it? Yes, that's exactly what happened. Sean Dickinson is going to be the first of this top 5 to go in.
So an early stop for Dickinson to offset from Tabal. his decisions. See if it works out for Dickinson to be able to get out of clean air for now. We just received an update involving the GT3 fixed race, by the way, here, Dylan. Unofficially, it's still pending any penalties or any protests. Feliz indeed has the 1 point advantage provisionally, as you projected.
Yeah, okay. So it's going to be, I still think the results will be changed. I think they're, they have to look at it. A protest, I don't think a protest has to be officially made for an incident to be looked at. But nonetheless, like looking at it in replay, I don't think Jim Feliz is going to be allowed, or shouldn't be allowed, I should say, to keep that title. He just turned in way too early, and he was the car in behind. He was trying to get the best run he possibly could. Unfortunately, though, it ended up costing what we see Luke Wallace, the champion for now. You just don't want to put it in the hands of the stewards of race control, not because you don't trust them, but because anything can happen. It just feels so inauthentic.
Right now, it's the matter of seeing over time what will happen in that series. But we're expecting pit stop time soon. Some battling going on for around 8th on back. See Blasio and Garon. Rob Clark just took a spot on Garon.
Yeah, Rob Clark moving up a little bit back to where he started this race in P9. So that gap between he and Cy Young for a position in the championship on the podium hasn't really changed all that much. Actually, it's the advantage has swung a little bit more into Cy Young's favor. Remember, pit stops are happening now, so that could change the game. Fernando Jaquez goes in. Jack Hedgecox goes in. When does everybody else go down pit lane?
Expecting that to be in a couple more minutes. But overall, it's been a great season. You have to give credit to that. And so far, this season, it's taken the twists and turns as to be expected. But tonight has calmed on down for the closing finale. Almost fitting that it's at this racetrack, though.
Certainly has calmed down, and Road America is what a fantastic track. We've had some great American races here this season. Obviously, we were talking about Daytona, but again, when it comes to a track that just screams pure motorsport, Road America certainly is that. I wish NASCAR still went there in the real world. Obviously, last year was the final season for that. I would have loved. One of the races I missed last year, as I worked with a NASCAR team called iRacing, was the Xfinity Road America race. Which the result of it, I'm happy I wasn't there, but the just being in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, would have been awesome.
Well, Aiden Young, we're going to take a look at now. He seems to be on the move. Now with the pit stops underway, he's got it up to Connor Wagner on speed. He's gained a couple spots, technically on track.
This is true. We'll see if any of that changes after pit stops are complete. 25 minutes into this race. More cars are heading down pit lane. We see up ahead Brandon Tabone is the first to kind of make that move from the top 5 pack.
We'll see where he measures out compared to Dickinson. Dickinson, by the way, 41 seconds back. Connor Wagner also ducked in. Eric Blasio, Noah Anderson also in. Smooth entries, smooth operations into the lane. And now we'll see when the leaders blink. The leaders themselves have Rob Clark now in the top 5.
All right. Well, I mean, Rob Clark is only there right now because of that, of the pit cycling. But we will see. The top 5 are running within 2 seconds of each other. So we still have the podium runners as it currently stands. I believe all still from that top 3 kind of formation that still have to pit. Can David C. Holland get back into the lead over Gregory Hoverson? It's been since lap 1 that Hoverson took that lead away from Holland. Holland's been chasing ever since, and the Lamborghini duo.
Looking back to Garon. Garon's been hounded by a lot of cars tonight. He's had to fight just to be able to hold on to where he's at.
Andre Garon, that's a story of his season, right? The consistency, not necessarily being there, but also putting himself in situations where he does have to fight a bunch of other cars, and sometimes it goes well, and sometimes it goes really, really wrong.
We'll see when they duck down here how quickly they're able to get in and out of the boxes. 13, 14-second pit stops, as much as 10 seconds for Tabone to jump Dickinson by 5 seconds. Leaders are in. Pit stop party time.
Yeah, I think everyone could only go around 14 laps in this race on a full tank of fuel. Estimating right now that we've got around 6 to 7 laps to go in the race. Hoverson still holds the lead. He might even hold the lead coming out of the pits and not give it up once. He's going to go to, well, David Holland's actually going to hold the lead, I think, momentarily, potentially. Trying to see where David C. Holland is on the leaderboard. Where'd he go?
This time he was in 10th, and he's out of the race. Hold on.
Oh, no.
David Holland has had an issue on his lap 13. He is in the pit lane right now.
Well, I thought I was going crazy. I could not find David C. Holland. I wonder if it was just a random disconnect. The good thing is we still have a 4-car fight, or at least did have 4 cars still involved. Now Brandon Tabone is hot on the heels of Hoverson and gaining going down into turn 5, JP.
On the undercut, Hoverson playing the defense on the overcut. Tabone, no place to send it yet in his Corvette compared to the Lambo.
No, but he might. Yeah, he's going to lose even more time coming out of that corner. He's going to have to really just focus up here on getting a good run, dealing with that turbulent air that the Lamborghini will create going around the carousel here. It's one of those very difficult quarters to get right if you're a car in behind. You almost have to just take your foot off the throttle a little bit earlier. Let the car just kind of roll through it naturally. So far, it looks like it was a pretty solid entry, but maybe a bit too much speed before picking it back up mid-corner. Lost a couple hundredths. Not bad.
Not bad. And as expected, Gregory Hoverson, per standings, currently projected to be your championship contender, or rather championship winner, if they stay. And even if they don't stay. As long as Gregory Hoverson finishes this race, does not have a DNF, does not have a bad moment, does not crash out to the point where he flies to the pit lane and loses all the laps, he's got it. And right now, Tabone wants to see if he can get SimCity Racing a win to close it out with 10 minutes to go.
Wouldn't that be fantastic? If Tabone can get a victory here, he'd be the lowest ranked driver to get that victory. There's the massive mistake from David C. Holland. We just missed that. Yeah. My goodness, that is a massive shunt. I'd like to see another look at that.
That absolutely destroyed him. And obviously, nobody gonna be happy about that one. Especially him.
I can think of a lot of people who are going to be happy about that one. The ones he's trying to race with.
Good point. Could have been up here for the race lead. Instead, not going to be up there. And it's 9 minutes to go. It seems as though Gregory Hoverson is right on the edge. He's clipping the grass several times over here.
Yeah, it's a mano-a-mano fight right now between Hoverson and Tabone, and mean, Brandon has given Gregory everything that he possibly has and is doing a fantastic job here. As Hovesen gets a little bit wide, it's going to give him a better late apex in the corner here through the carousel. A better exit, but I think overall Tabone gained through the carousel. Let's see through the kink. I mean, full commitment, full maximum commitment right there. What a big gain from Tabone going into the Canada corner. Not going to be close enough to make a move, I don't think. But he does get on the brakes a little earlier. It's going to give him a better exit than Hovesen.
Still no change for now. Good corner exit right now for Tabone, but he's better than good. He needs perfect if he wants to get this done. What can Brandon do to make sure this gap closes? The draft can only help him so much here.
I mean, he's doing everything the perfect way right now. He's already there. He's already close to 2/10, 3/10 at max. I mean, it's just about picking your spot and forcing Hovesen into a mistake with just around 4 or 5 laps to go in this race.
Just keeping it dead even right now. They're almost 2 even. Chris Stewart is your amp leader, by the way. 15th spot. He's built up a buffer for it. Oh, they're starting to get defensive for the pro lead.
Yeah, this is going to be a pretty poor entry, I'd say, for Tabone. He's going to lose some time here as they go up this corner, up the hill. Yeah, he lost some massive time. He's off the throttle earlier there going into 6. And my, oh my, I mean, it just goes to show you how much your entry point does matter, how wide your arc is. It was just not deep enough, or not I'd say not wide enough for Tabone versus Hovesen. He's going to have to get back onto the saddle here and keep it moving, because he has had some negative gains or negative losses there. But that's a perfect carousel.
Second ram, by the way, is closed for those curious. Miles Brown, Jason Hodgson. Jason Hodgson keeping the 222 on his toes as he clips more grass again.
Yeah, it's some good racing for some important positions and multiple class podium positions. You love to see that, you know, especially for the overall win. That's something you'd love to see. But goodness me, it's this top class, you know, sprint series competition. It's always strong, even when you see Modolf in the field dominating some races. There are so many top skilled drivers here.
I agree. So we take a look at those standings yet again. And if it holds, no matter what here, Devin Brock, who is a lap down, mind you, would still get the AM Championship. Peter Muller, despite all of that, up only 3 spots. The 997 did not have a good night, as the battle for 7th is on. Palacio gaining spots during the cycle.
You know, shades of Lewis Hamilton at Mexico winning outside the points a number of years ago, the World Drivers' Championship.
Indeed. Here comes Aiden Yun. He sends it up the inside out of the Marine sweep. Yun continues. He's up to 7th for now.
Yeah, this is going to be hard to get back to the inside. Going to have to defend, but might have some contact here. If you can keep the inside going into turn 7, you have a shot, but there's a bigger advantage, I'd say, on the outside there. Bruce True.
Yeah. Rob Clark also through. Good move by Clark.
Yeah, it's just difficult when you kind of get shuffled out of the line going into turn 6. It's probably the corner you want to be on the outside the least amount of time for, because if you are on the outside there, it's because of the way the corner is kind of shaped and the entry point being up the hill, you're going to struggle. The one saving grace is that short shoot between the exit of 6 and the entry to turn 7, where you can use that inside spot, inside space to maybe fight back, but then immediately you're back on the outside.
So Eric Blasio shuffled back as well. Blasio with all the shuffling. Looking for the reset. Can he do anything with less than 4 minutes to go? Better yet, Tabone still not able to do anything on Gregory Holmson.
I mean, he is still having the opportunity here, though. He is still within that range. He's been able to use the slipstream. He is using all the track and then some. And he doesn't have the momentum. He'll gain some of it back from being in the slipstream here. Not enough to make a move, to make a wild, desperate attempt. But he didn't get the best drive off, but he did gain around 6/10, as that slipstream really took into effect there. But loses it all on the exit. He just gets again into the grass.
Right now, it seems as though Gregory is in line to get a W here if he doesn't make mistakes. Regardless here, Dylan, obviously we know the circumstances to Karl Modoff not here for the championship finale, but Gregory.
Modoff, if he was able to do it while only making 7 out of 9 races, but as it stands, Hovesen is going to be champion simply because, not because he had more points per race, but because he was more present. What is it? To finish first you must finish.
Less than 2 minutes to go. White flag is out. Final time around of the season. Tabone. Mostly can close up to his 3/10 again for the braking zone. It's been a stellar drive again for Delta Sport. They've been dominant all season. That organization is going to have a lot to be happy about, you have to say, though.
Yeah, it's been absolutely fantastic for a Delta Sport season. Just Hovesen looking for another win to pretty much make it 8 out of 9 wins for them. Takes a wide apex. That's only going to help him. It's only going to hurt Tabone. I'm not sure why Tabone has not been just spreading out that wide on exit. It hurts him every single time. The opportunities that he had, they're gone now. He's got to hope that Hovesen makes a mistake, and he's not really put a foot wrong.
And Gregory Holmson has half a track to go after he comes out of Speedville Bridge. Onto the carousel. Been an outright dominant year for Delta Sport as a whole. The speed on point. The Lamborghinis always flying. But tonight, it's a Delta Sport driver who will take the crown in the Sprint Series. Checker flag coming up at the stripe. While Karl Modoff may not be here, Gregory Holmson is here to claim a title. Through the final corner, Gregory Holmson will take the checker flag, walk off with the championship. He is your PRL GT3 Sprint Series champion.
I mean, he deserved to be in consideration as the entire season went on. And I know people might say, well, he wouldn't have won if Modoff was there, which, yes, true in all likelihood, but Hovesen was there. That's the important thing. Gregory Hovesen made the time to be at every single race, all 9 races, and because of that, is the champion, and he walks it off with a victory here in the final race of the season.
A very stellar closing for him tonight. Devin Brock, meanwhile, will come to the final sections, and he will get the chance to celebrate as an AM champion. Devin Brock, he may have been a lap down tonight, will be on the right lap to claim a trophy. Devin Brock is your AM champion for the Sprint Series at Road America.
That's all that matters. Devin Brock crosses the line, and yeah, he kind of got the opportunity to take off in this final race just to be there, and that's what he did to become champion. He was there at the end. He gave himself enough space where a race like this was going to be okay for him.
And a happy night to close indeed, as we close up the championship festivities here on RaceSpot. 26 cars finish on the lead lap. Let's take a look at the results. Gregory Hopson, Brandon Tabone, Chris Sowan gets a podium. Sean Dickinson, Fernando Jaquez, Connor Wagner, Aiden Young, Rob Clark, the top 8. Placio drops to 9th in the end. Marc-Andre Caron drops back to 10th. Kevin Simpson, front of Hedgecogs. Duke in 13th, a quiet run to end off the year. Noah Anderson, Ethan Bass gets himself to 15th. Good shuttle to him over with David McDonough. Chris Stewart, 17th. J.R. Williams, Joshua Spears, Miles Brown in the top 22nd at AM. Hodgson, Beaver, Rep, Muller, Sheriff Robertson, and Brock are how they line up in order next. David Holland, DNFs, with Drake Smith and Dakota Knapp back there as well. Jeff Crow and Ryan Reeves finishes dead last tonight. Tabone gets the fastest lap with the draft. Still waiting for some of the drivers to join on in as part of their celebrations. But we do have, for the time being, your AM winner. Your AM winner tonight in the race, should say, standing by Chris Stewart. How are you feeling, Chris? You get an AM win tonight. Chris Stewart, do you have a copy? Try this one more time. Chris Stewart, do you have a copy?
Yes. Push to talk's important, huh?
Yes, indeed. How does it feel to win the AM class tonight?
It's quite good, man.
How
Definitely,
so?
yeah, definitely wish I hadn't had some DNFs. Unfortunately, I was on vacation last week, and that definitely hurts me in the championship points. But had fun tonight. Really glad to finish the season with the win, and really can't ask for much more than that. So super happy.
Overall, how would you describe the ebbs and flows of this racetrack? Getting used to this track for tonight.
This is just a good track for me. I don't really know why, but it just suits my style. At the end of the day, I was really paying attention to what Devin was doing, really paying attention to what Peter was doing. So just trying to make the most of it from a championship point of view, but the track really suits me. And, of course, working with my SimCity Racing guys just makes everything a lot easier. So shout out to those guys for all the help the entire season. It's been an awesome season and just really enjoyed it.
Overall, though, anyone you want to give a shout out to after this one tonight?
Definitely my family for putting up with me racing most nights, and of course the SimCity Racing guys, and a special shout out to Martin, for everything you're going through, buddy. We love you, and we're thinking about you all the time.
Congratulations once again on the run tonight.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks.
Chris Stewart coming away with the AM class win tonight. We also have your champion now joining in and race winner tonight. Gregory Hobson comes away with the championship. Gregory, how does it feel to be a champion?
Yeah, not bad, eh? A little bit of a shame Carl wasn't here to fight, but I feel like I put on pretty good performance throughout the whole season. Felt like I was quick every round, just some things didn't go my way with, I know you've heard the same story over and over again with DCs and stuff, but yeah, it is what it is. Happy to have finished the season with a win in the final round as well. It wouldn't have been as nice getting the championship with finishing, I think it was like 14th or something I needed to finish to be mathematically still in. But yeah, finishing the season off with a win, 3 on the year, I'm pleased with.
Overall, how would you describe the battle between you and your teammate Carl throughout this championship?
Yeah, Carl's mega to work with. Him and I, whenever we're testing, we're always within a tenth of each other. One week I'll be a tenth or a little bit less than a tenth quicker. The next week he'll be a little bit less than a tenth quicker. We've really worked well together over the last year now. So yeah, it's just constant pushing each other. I know you saw at the Spa race, we're happy to fight and do a whole lap side by side as well. We trust each other. We share any new knowledge we can get with each other. We work on the setups together. We do basically everything. And yeah, this Lambo was quite a beast to tame this week. There was a lot of I guess considerations had to be made with this car to suit the track this week. But yeah, Carl was there still to help throughout the week, even though he wasn't here this week. So yeah, it just really goes to show what type of guy he is. Can't ask for really a better teammate.
Overall, what does it say with you being a champion? What goes to mind for you in Delta Sport? What does it mean for this organization for you to pick up the championship?
Yeah, happy to be another Delta Sport driver winning a PRL championship. I know with David's and Connor's extensive career in the open wheel side of things, Carl being the most winning GT driver in PRL history, I'm happy to be another one of those, you know, posters on the wall for the Delta Sport stable.
Any shows you'd like to give here before we let you go?
Yeah, of course. Delta Sport guys, as always. Connor and David really improved throughout the season. It was really impressive to see David tackle this Lambo. Not an easy car to drive at all. So he did really, really good adapting. Carl, of course, as I mentioned, as a super teammate of mine. And then, yeah, my family for putting up with me, taking over house time and stuff like this, and, you know, testing and all that jazz. So it takes a village to build a boy, or raise a boy, whatever the saying is. So yeah, there's lots of people in the background helping out and making this whole thing possible. So just grateful I was able to get away with the win.
Congratulations once again on the run here tonight.
Yeah, much appreciated, guys.
Once again, that's Gregory Hobson coming away with the championship here tonight, provisionally this season. Brandon Tabone comes away second. Brandon, you had a shot for the race win. What's going through your mind on the podium?
Yeah, we had a shot, but it was a bit risky too. This track is a bit difficult to overtake, so I had to like brake late, and I didn't want to smash into Gregory, so yeah, it is what it is. I tried my best, but I finished second. I'm happy.
It was an interesting race overall. You have to describe, what was it like in the midst of things with you and your teammate Sean Dickinson at one point working together to try and find a way around Delta Sport?
Yeah, I tried to my best to save fuel. Actually, Sean overfueled his car for some reason, but yeah. And then I pitted early. I don't know what happened to David in the race. And then I ended up behind the leader after the pit, so it was race on.
Race on indeed we had tonight. Overall, what's your statement on what you had for you and your team this season? SimCity Racing, of course, one of the best teams in the organization, pecking order just behind Delta Sport in the team standings tonight.
Yeah, really happy with the performance. Unfortunately, so I need to mention him here. Martin, never lift mate. Hope to see you back on track soon. So yeah, we finished second. Good performance. We started on like a bit on the side, but we managed to get up and get P2.
Once again, congratulations on the run here tonight.
Thank you very much.
Brandon Tabone coming away second. Third spot went to Chris Sowan. Chris, very quiet but solid run here once again. How are you feeling about the top three to close out the season?
Oh yeah, I felt great. Honestly, I felt like I had a bit more at the end, but near the beginning I just got too many off tracks and racked up on them X's. So yeah, during the second stint, Gregory and Brandon, they kicked it into another gear, and I couldn't keep up with them because the more I tried to push, I just kept overdriving the car. And yeah, I didn't want to risk it for the drive-through because all I had to do was beat Carl. I mean Rob Clark. And yeah, so I brought it home in P3. Feels pretty good. Another podium. That's 2 this season, and my second season PRL, so I'll take it.
Overall, how would you describe this season in the PRL and why?
I feel like it was a lot better than my last season. I struggled a bit to keep up with all these guys. I mean, all of them are really quick. And going into this one, I put in more time, more practice, and it paid off. I really, my driving style really fit this Corvette this season, and yeah.
Overall, though, How are you feeling about next season? Will we see you next season? And how are you feeling about it?
I'm really looking forward to next season. Yeah, I should be back next season. Honestly, maybe not in that. I know the McLaren's coming out. We test that for sure. But I should definitely be back. I might have a teammate. My uncle is Roy Osborne from Fix Series. He might be bouncing over there with me, maybe. And hopefully, yeah, we come back even better next season and go for it again.
Any shout-outs you'd like to give here tonight?
Yep, my family watching. You guys for broadcasting the whole thing. All the PRL people for putting on the league. It's been a fun time. I look forward to doing it again.
Congratulations once again on the run tonight.
Appreciate it.
Chris, so on rounding out our discussions here tonight, do have one more discussion. Devin Brock, your AM champion, is standing on side. Devin, congratulations once again, AM championship. How does that sound?
It sounds pretty damn good. Man, long hard season, but that was fun. Well, not this last race, not really fun, but the season overall was really fun, man. It was just a lot of fun. Especially just every track that we went to is something I'm familiar with, something I really like. Especially the rain races, that was a lot of fun to really be able to learn and grow from those races. But hell of a season, so that was a lot of fun.
Overall, what was the main thing that pops up in terms of what you developed the most this season?
I think consistency, just being able to, especially throughout a race, especially little things to work on in terms of fuel management, especially in the rain, especially when I got the pace in the rain. But consistency, just being able to make it from minute 40 to checkered flag and be able to stay focused. And that comes with it from just doing long endurance races, 24-hour races and everything. But being able to do it when it matters is what really sticks out for me right now.
How are you feeling about next season?
Pretty pumped. I got some work to do, some stuff to do in off season to get a little bit better. So it's not so close coming down to the final race or anything like that. Because God knows there's a lot I can do to grow from here. But I'm excited for it and ready for it. We'll be ready.
Any shout you'd like to give here tonight?
Yeah, give a shout out to Yingling Racing, my brother Larry Yingling, always helping me out, giving me support that I need. Shout out to PRL, great season, a lot of fun. It's really a great RAN community. I really appreciate it. Shout out to Tracklicious Sim Racing. They've always been behind me, and hell, even kind of got me into endurance racing here on iRacing a lot. So shout out to them, shout out to my family, and always giving me the love and support I need to be able to do what I love to do. So
congratulations once again on the run tonight.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
Devin Brock coming away with the AM Championship. I'd like to congratulate him on the season and everyone else we just spoke with as they close things out here tonight in the GT3 Fixed and Sprint Series. Well, on that note, it's just about time to say goodbye. If you want to sign up, again, sign-ups are open. Go to PrecisionRacingLeague.com to learn how you can join this series and any series in the PRL ladder. But on that note, it's time to say goodbye. For my co-announcer tonight, Dylan Coyle, for our producer Ramiro Augustin Cisneros, I'm Justin Prince saying so long. Enjoy the rest of your evening. You've been watching PRL's GT3 Fixed and Sprint Series. From Road America, congratulations to the champions on a well-done season.